hour later, I found myself, Zach, and Kyle sitting in Zach's fancy monster-killing pickup truck. The number of secret gun compartments in Zach's pickup truck was very noticeable, and I could tell Kyle was very interested in all of the guns. My sheathed sword machete hybrid sat in my lap as I kept bugging Zach about letting me borrow his guns. "Okay," I said. "Now, can you please tell us where the hell we're going?"
"First call Ben, and tell me his address. Then I'll tell you,"
Zach replied. So I called Ben, and 5 minutes later, we were pulling up in front of his apartment. Ben hopped in and sat down next to me as Zach continued driving to our destination.
"Where are we going?"
"I don't know, but the driver, Zach, will tell you," I said. Ben nodded, but didn't work up the courage to ask Zach the question. He quickly looked around and fixed his eyes on Kyle.
"Who's that guy?"
Ben whispered, gesturing to Kyle. "Kyle?" Ben immediately tensed.
"Kyle? The same guy you just told me about?"
"Yeah, that guy."
Why? Why is he here?"
Kyle smiled with a grin. "Hey,"
"Okay,
Zach said.
shut the fuck up and listen. We're going to the marina. There's a large vessel waiting for us."
"Vessel?" I said. "Why do we need a vessel?" Zach sighed.
"Okay, the deep one, or whatever the hell you want to call it, is almost at its destination, the Black Cove. So we're going to try to catch a glimpse of it, or even try to kill it before it escapes. We're going to go out on a trip to the Black Cove, and that'll take about a week. We're going to try and get a good look at the thing. And we need to get to the boat because the guy who rented the boat just wanted it out of the marina before 10 o'clock. Don't know why. The guy was sketchy as hell, might be an overseas drug smuggler. I don't know. And I think there's a bunch of drugs in the boat, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's why the weirdo wanted the boat out of his possession."
"So this is just a research mission? No torpedoes or nuclear submarines?"
"No,"
Zach said.
"It's just a reconnaissance mission. Kinda."
"Okay, emphasis on kinda," I said. "But do you know what the deep one actually looks like?"
"No. It usually swims too deep for any drone to see it."
Of course it does." About 10 minutes later, we arrived at the boat that was parked at the marina. It was a mixture of a very large fishing boat and a giant motorboat. But it was huge, about the size of 2 school buses, and had a few lower decks. Zach invited us in, and he showed us around. One room particularly interested me, the equipment and research room. The ship's room was filled with sonars, underwater cameras, and recording devices, and those kinds of things interested me, as I also dabbled a bit in electronic shit. The boat's interior had everything a big boat would have. Living quarters, a kitchen, a lot of food and water, the decks, bathrooms, and there were even 2 small submersibles on the side of the hull. "Okay, now that we're here, can I ask why you brought us here?" I asked.
"Okay,"
said Zach.
"We need Ben for his ability to operate submarines, since we only have one other pilot. All of the other people here are useless idiots, including you, Ben. But you can drive an underwater car or some shit. We need Roger because he's a marine biologist, and that kind of makes him slightly useful for this mission. And Kyle is here because he's a shithead who also needs to be supervised."
Kyle scoffed, and he took a swig of his signature flask. "Okay, here the hell we go," I said.
"Oh, and the boat is slow as hell,"
Zach continued.
"And I think you should meet the rest of the crew, besides you guys."
So, I know I said I would spare you the details of the ship's interior, and I didn't. But I think I should spare you the details of all of the crew. So in total, there were 20 crew members, but there were also a couple of people I found somewhat worth mentioning. George, a recently retired British Special Operations soldier who studied cryptozoology in his late 50s. Alex, he likes guns. Captain Carl, a raging alcoholic, ex-deep-sea fisherman, and the so-called captain of the boat. John. John got brutally murdered by getting eaten alive by sea monsters, and his guts got all over the deck, which I had to clean up off-screen. I was pretty tired, so I went to my small room below the deck, and I blacked out worse than the night fucking Kyle beat the shit out of me. When I woke up, we were already far out to sea, to the point where the only thing I could see for miles was blue, an endless churning abyss in which leviathans of biblical proportion lay. When I walked to the living quarters, most of the crew were laughing and playing poker at a large table. Kyle was sitting there, flimsily holding a deck of cards. He was already way too drunk, and I decided that my best chance of survival was getting a good distance away from him until he sobered up. The room we were in was the size of the living room in a house, and portholes lined the walls, besides a couple of old paintings that barely held onto the walls. Some couches and chairs were scattered around the room, but the furniture was so old, I don't know if I would consider it as furniture. "When are we going to get there?" I asked Ben.
Carl says around a week. The boat's slow.
Damn it. After the productive conversation, I walked over to the worn-down couch and sat down. Besides the stupid people, me, Zach, Ben, and Kyle, there was one other guy, Alex. I decided to try my luck at striking up a conversation with Alex, a Russian guy with light brown hair and a grin, who was cleaning a giant rifle on his lap. "Oh, what you doing, Kami?" I asked.
"Cleaning my 50 cal. This thing will kill anything that fucking moves." "Is that actually a sword?"
"Oh, yeah."
"Can I see it?"
Alex asked. "Sure." I had to say, I was nailing this small talk thing. I heard something people do with strangers. I handed Alex my sword, and he drew it, unimpressed.
"This won't do horseshit."
"Well, it'll come in handy if I get attacked by a pack of hostile watermelons," I said, putting the tactical sword back into its sheath.
"Oh, and what are we looking for, my friend?"
asked Alex.
"Some tall man in trench coat paying me $1,000 to stay on his boat. Very vague about the whole thing."
"That guy is Zach. He's a monster hunter, or he just likes LARPing a little too much. We're going to search for this giant, unidentified organism in the Black Cove."
"Seems very normal. What's the deal with that, drunk man?" "He's drunk and trying to beat the absolute shit out of everyone."
"That's Kyle. He's a sociopath and former bully who terrorized me in high school. He's my roommate now, ever since he made some people mad."